Hey guys, welcome to Love of Books, Movies, and Happiness. My name's April, and today we're reviewing Seven Rings by Nora Roberts, which is the third and final book in the trilogy of The Lost Bride's Manor. As a quick overview, book one was Inheritance, where we met Sonya, a creative digital creator, through a series of events. From a split from her fiance when she catches him cheating, to him causing her trouble at the company they work at, and ends up going out on her own to work from home. She finds out that she has had an uncle she never knew about who left her a house. Great big manor house. Beautiful old manor house. So she goes, checks it out, agrees to stay for 3 months and live there just to kind of get a feel for it. But when she moves in, there's a ghost story attached about every generation. A bride from each generation for the last 7 generations has died on their wedding day, and supposedly they hang around. She doesn't necessarily believe in ghosts right away, so she kind of ignores that. As time goes on, she realizes that there is more than meets the eye. And we start to get introduced to the brides of Lost Bride Manor. She also realizes there's something unpleasant and evil in the house. Hester Dobbs, the witch that killed the original first bride to die and placed a curse on the house. So she has issues with her. Sonya invites her best friend Cleo to move in with her. Cleo is an illustrator, does a bunch of illustrations / her own paintings. Moves in with her. They start to deal with it. At the same time, Sonya starts to develop a relationship with one of the lawyers who was best friends with her uncle, Trey. They start to develop a thing. She meets Trey's cousin / best friend, Owen, who is also Trey's best friend, Owen, who is one of Sonya's cousins. Yeah, there we go. And Owen is constantly there to help out as well. Book 2, the two girls, Sonya and Cleo, the two women, have settled into the manor. They've realized that there are ghosts there. They've started to identify the brides. Sonya's dream walking, stuff like that, seeing stuff, talking to the ghost. Not that she wants to be, but that's what's happening. Cleo is there to help her kind of stay centered and just be okay and be a good friend / almost like a sister to her. And book 1 ends with them realizing that there is some kind of mirror that Sonya is seeing in her dreams. And this mirror is like pulling at her, trying to get her to find it. So the end of book 1, she's found the mirror. Does like a final sleepwalk, ends up with Cleo, Trey, and Owen, because Cleo realizes she's sleepwalking, calls Trey, who's staying the night with Owen, so Owen goes with Trey to the manor to go check on him. Well, Trey can't see anything in the mirror, neither can Cleo. But Sonya and Owen can both see images in the mirror, so they end up going into the mirror. That's the cliffhanger from book 1. Then we get to book 2, wherein, sorry, I have to switch hands here. There we go. In book 2, we see what happens within the mirror. They kind of do a little bit of time traveling type thing, where they go back to one of the wedding ceremonies and like the reception, and they see one of the brides die, and they get their first interaction with Dobbs outside of the house. And then book 2 kind of continues from there, where it's just more moments of Sonya getting pulled into the mirror, and Dobbs starting to realize that Sonya is going to be an issue and starting to do things to cause problems and annoy her in the hopes of getting Sonya to leave. She's not going to leave. And her and Trey continue. So it's it continues to be a love story mixed with the edges of a paranormal story kind of woven together. Now, mind you, all of this happens throughout everyday life. Like, yeah, we see the ghost events, and we see Sonya doing a sleepwalking, but it's all woven into Sonya and Cleo, Trey and Owen, living their everyday lives. So it's not a fast-paced trilogy. It's a slower-paced trilogy that kind of spreads everything out. Then we get to the third book. A lot of people thought that for the final book, all the action was going to really increase. And it does, but they thought it was going to be like fast-paced, the way some of her other trilogies in the past have been. Or like by the third book, everything's coming to a head, a lot's happening all at once, it's action, action, action. This is not the same style. This is a more, I can't say slow, well, it is slower paced, but this is a more calmer trilogy, right? So it's not like an adventure. It's things happen. Like Dobbs, from the start, Dobbs increases what she does. She gets more violent. She gets more focused on Sonya, on trying to stop her. A lot starts happening, but it is still woven into their everyday lives. So while it starts with a bang, like it starts with them seeing all the brides, as well as every other ghost in the house and the way they died. Whether it's sickness, hanging, falling down the stairs, like they are forced to watch all of the ghosts in the house go through their deaths. However, at the same time, they can feel the ghost pain, because this time, Hester is forcing them to go through it and causing the ghost pain, which Sonya is able to feel. So it starts off with some action. And it's a really great story. Matter of fact, I give this third book 5 out of 5 stars. Sorry. If you go into it with the understanding, I'm a little far back, there we go. Go into it with the understanding that it is a slower paced trilogy. And the third book does pick up in action, but it doesn't pick up in speed. You'll enjoy the book better. Just as a heads up. Okay? So in this third book, and I'm going to warn you now, I kind of give it away with the first thing, but it's like the first page you open to, you start to read it. So that's not a huge spoiler. But for the rest of this, there are spoilers. Just to warn you. So if you just want a simple overview of what this is about, third book is the conclusion. We see Sonya and Trey's relationship really evolve and grow. We see Cleo and Owen's relationship really grow and strengthen. We see Dobbs really get a lot more physical. And they start to try to put the clues together to solve the mystery of how to stop Dobbs and break the curse. And they figure out a few things about the mirror and how to use it to stop Dobbs. Like I said, 5 out of 5 stars. It is a slower paced story, but it is definitely worth reading. If you don't want any spoilers, thank you for checking out the video. Please check out my other review videos. Leave a comment about what you're looking forward to on reading it. Otherwise, if you are ready for spoilers, keep listening. Alright, guys. Now that everyone who doesn't want spoilers has left, as I said, we start out, first thing on the page when you first start reading is that Dobbs is making the ghost experience all of their deaths. It's hurting them. Like Sonya and the others can hear them screaming from pain and feel their pain. At the same time, they get some closure about her uncle's death because they see his death happen. And they get a little bit of closure because there had been some question of exactly how he had fallen down the stairs. Did he deliberately let himself fall? Did Dobbs do something to push him? There had been some questions. So they were able to see his death and get a little bit of closure and be like, okay, that's what happened. They kind of recover from that. And they start living their everyday lives again. They're still trying to find answers. Don't get me wrong. They are still looking for answers. Like, they're still looking at what they do know and trying to figure out how it plays into what they need to know. At the start of the 3rd book, they're still waiting on the final portrait for the bride. Cleo is starting a painting that she's kind of keeping secret for a bit until later in the book, which turns out to be kind of key. Sonya and Trey have really come to realize that they have feelings for each other. There is a bit of delayed. They don't say the words to each other for most of the 3rd book. Not because they're afraid to, it's just every time there's a moment when they might, someone interrupts. Which they're fine with because they don't want to rush it, so they both feel it. They're just not rushing to say it. And then Cleo and Owen also realize, Owen has realized since like halfway through book 2 that she's it. And Cleo knows that she has feelings for Owen. She just doesn't realize how strong those feelings are right away. So throughout book 3, you really see her and Owen kind of get more solid on their relationship. And actually, they say the words sooner than Sonya and Trey do, even though they're the newer couple. But you get some really good glimpses of life. Trey's sister has her baby, so they get to celebrate that. You do get an appearance by Sonya's ex that cheated on her. He shows up at the house, pushes his way in, kind of gets a little physical with her because he doesn't like her answers when she tries to tell him, like, get out, I don't want you in here. At which point the ghosts end up helping get him out of the house because, like, Jack, the little boy, her grandmother, the music DJ, and a bunch of other ghosts all kind of take turns attacking him until he is out of the house. She does tell Trey, who, once he calms down a bit, he goes through all the things they're going to do legally to go after her ex. She's kind of the attitude of let's just leave it as it is, but Trey points out that you need to do this to get your point across. The state they're in, trespassing, when you've very clearly told them you don't want them in your room or in the building, is very highly punishable and is a crime. So she ends up agreeing to file an order of protection against him and then charging him with trespassing crimes and a couple other crimes, assault and a couple others. He ends up, I think it was like going to jail / taking a deal where like he has to do anger management classes and so much community service, but he still serves a little bit of time. So he's dealt with. That's the last that she sees of him, because he's not going to come back near her again, because he doesn't want to go to jail for the full time. But he does make an appearance and cause a little bit of strife between her and Trey, which up until now they've had mostly smooth sailing relationship-wise, so they were due for some minor disagreements. Hester starts to really become more of an issue in that she starts sending out more of her shadow creatures. They run into a wolf where her and Cleo are out for a walk and a wolf tries to get them, and then it turns into smoke when the animals attack. A bird tries to get them again. The cat attacks the bird and it ends up getting like an ice burn on her paws, so they have to treat that. There's a lot that happens that Dobbs does that just like to really try and scare them off. And Trey does get stressed because he is a protector type. He's used to being able to step in and protect his family and protect his love, and he can't do a whole lot. Like, A, he doesn't live at the manor with them, and then B, Sonya's the target, and it's a lot of stress on her, and he knows that. So it does stress him out a little bit. They do end up getting into a bit of an argument about halfway through the book about just everything going on, how much stress she's under, how he feels about everything. She does try and do this whole, if you are this stressed over it, why don't you take some time to take a break? Because she's like, I love you, but I don't want to lose you because you are overly stressed about everything. So why don't you take a few days, back off from me, back off from the manor, and go just breathe, which he does not go for. He does not go for that. He makes it very clear that he's not going anywhere. They get that worked out, and that is finally when they exchange, that they love each other. And he tells her he wants to put a ring on her finger. He wants to marry her. Can't do that while Dobbs is an issue. She knows that. They start to figure out a few things about the mirror. They start to figure out the clues to really solve the situation and end Dobbs' reign of terror at the manor. Whether or not they succeed, whether or not Sonya gets her wedding, does Cleo and Owen decide to get married, or do they just keep coasting? You have to read the book to find out. I highly recommend reading this book. Like I said, it picks up. Like, there's a scene where Dobbs manages to pick Sonya up in the air and, like, throw her against a wall, and he essentially beats her up as a ghost. And there's a lot that happens. It's just done in such a way that you get a lot of glimpses of them just living their everyday life as it's happening. So if you are okay with a slower paced trilogy, and you've read the other two books, and you want to see the ending, definitely check out Seven Rings, as this is yet another awesome trilogy from Nora Roberts. If you have read the third book, or you are reading it, and you want someone to talk to about the book, leave a comment. I am more than happy to talk about Seven Rings, or the other two books even. You want to talk about one of the ghosts? We do learn a little bit more about Jack as well, and some of the other ghosts as well, which is nice. So anything you want to talk about, I will happily start talking about the books. Just leave a comment and let me know what you guys think. Till next time, keep reading.